All right, here we go.
This should not,
Welcome back to the pyramid, guys.
This should not be as difficult as it is to readjust. But, not sitting in my seat is, really fucking my shit up. It's weird.
I don't want to say it because I'm not in the
It's
business of,
weird.
it's your house and this is your podcast and all that, but,
Whatever.
I think this is an unnecessary move.
Well, I'm just testing it to see if it makes a difference in the audio.
Well, the audio sounded great last week, though.
Well, I think it could sound better.
So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I think it could sound better.
All right. So for our audio peeps, which I think is the majority of our audience by a long shot, we have swapped couches.
Yeah, this feels fucking weird, for sure.
I got to tell you, also, my better side is my left side. My less terrible side is my left side.
The lesser of the two uglies.
Right. And so when I sit on that couch, you're looking at the less terrible side of me. And so now, this might be kind of a jump scare for some people. Is seeing the right side of my face.
It's so here's the reasoning behind this, is that I was listening to my audio last week, and a lot of my audio, what's actually legitimately processed through the interface, is room audio. It's what you're hearing from my loud voice just ping-ponging around the walls, and having one wall directly behind my loud ass is not helpful. And I'm just echoing all the way around the room constantly. And so my game theory is that if I sit here with no wall behind me, you and I will be the exact same, and I won't have to put any sort of blood, sweat, and tears into editing audio like I did last week.
Maybe
it'll make my editing life a lot easier. But I could be I could be talking out of my butthole for all I know. This is just a test.
Well, you do have a loud ass, so
true. And like I said, it might not make a difference, and it might be that next week we go back to sitting in our assigned seats, but we're gonna try free seating for a minute and see how it goes.
I do like assigned seats, both as a former instructor and just as a human being who likes consistency. I will say, now you're talking at the wall though. Well, it's the sound's gonna reverb off of that and go into my mic and go back in your mic and stuff.
By that point, probably not.
We'll see.
But if it's the wall right behind me into my omnidirectional microphone, that could potentially pose a problem for someone who's super fucking loud like me.
I'm thinking maybe it will start to pose a problem.
I could be totally talking out of my asshole, but we're going to try it and see how it goes. I was going to out myself and talk about how I work in AV, which I'm talking about it now. But I should know more than I do, because this is a pretty large portion of my actual what I get paid to do job. But I cannot express when I'm not on the clock, I am dicking around with Audacity and the camera. Audacity is the program that we use to record, not just my Audacity as a person, although that's also part of it. And nothing
ever present.
You'll appreciate this as a former teacher. There was this is how my brain is when I was on breaks, spring break or summer break or whatever. And this is still how my brain is when I'm trying to do work-adjacent things without being on the clock. When I was a teacher and I lived in Franklin, this was before the podcast, it was a long time ago, I was putting my laundry in the washer, and I shut the door, and I went to hit the button to start the cycle, and nothing happened. I was like, fuck, that's so annoying. The washing machine's broken. That's so annoying. Now I'm going to have to call my landlord and blah, blah, blah. And I called, one of my roommates was at home, and I was like, can you come here and come look at the washing machine? Because it's not working. And the door wasn't closed the whole way. That's why it wasn't turning on. It's because the door wasn't closed, actually. And that's how I feel I perform my logistics, AV events stuff in my real life when I'm not on the clock. I'm I actually don't know how to do anything, and I'm really sorry, but I'm also just not remembering that we forgot to take a group photo at Easter. Fuck. My mom's going to text us and be like, you idiots left before we could take a group photo.
Dude, that's me at every function. I will even say we're texting everyone on the way to the function, hey guys, let's remember we got to get some good pictures and blah, blah, and then we just don't.
No. We took a lot of pictures of groups of let's have all the cousins together, let's have all the parents together. We did a lot of those, but we didn't do one big family photo of all 13 of us today. And my mom's gonna be pissed, but
lucky 13.
Whatever. I know there's so many people in my family. It was too much. And
something that popped
they're
up,
all adults.
Something that popped up in my Facebook memories was Passover from like 6 years ago, I guess. I think it was like 2019 or so. And there's like 28 of us all at my cousin Helene's house, Colin's mom.
Yes.
We all like met
Your
up.
bestie,
We had cousins coming in from like Spain and
Jesus
Israel
Christ.
and shit. Yeah. And California. It was wild.
That is super wild.
It was very cool.
Everyone in my family's at the point now where we're all adults, which is great. Like, there's no babies running around. Yeah. There's no screaming, really, which is really nice.
Shocking with you in the room. Hey,
no, truly. No, we play, this is the last, like, anecdotal family story, then we're going to get into the actual reason why we're here. But, we played a game together as a family, and we're all of us except three of us are related by blood, right? There's only three. There's like an in-law, or I guess my dad doesn't really count and my aunt doesn't really count, but most of us are blood related. So we're all very similar people, obviously. And we played an Easter egg game where everyone had 10 eggs that they were supposed to find, went out, found the 10 eggs, came back.
Wait, each person had 10 eggs?
Each person had 10 eggs.
What if you find someone else's egg?
They were all, so I'll explain it and then it'll make sense. So everyone found 10 eggs, and then we came back and we sat in a circle, and everyone had to go around the circle one by one and crack open each egg to see what was in it, because there was no candy. It was prompts, and the prompts were things like add 50 cents, give $1 to your favorite family member, take $1 from the person to your right, add $2, all that kind of stuff.
Sure.
And then by the end, everybody had a balance of like not real money. And then my mom and my Nana had put together like a prize table, and each prize was like different, like Chuck E. Cheese, basically. But my mom's brother, younger brother, who's like such a fucking goober, he was like, giggling and making everybody laugh and whatever. And I told him like, and the game took so fucking long to get through because we had to go one by one, and there are 13 of us.
Yeah, with 10 eggs each.
Yes, and I told my uncle, the problem is that they've given every single person in this family the spotlight. And it's like, okay, now everybody looks at this person. Now everybody's going to look at me. Now everybody's going to look at this person. And everybody in our family loves having the spotlight. And so it took like maybe 2 hours to go around the circle. And we were all...
Well, that's about right. That's 130 prompts. Each person takes like a full minute.
It took...
So we had 2 hours.
So long to get through it.
That's awesome.
It was ridiculous. Anyway, you ready to do the theme song?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Pyramid, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. My name is Amanda, and I'm your host every single freaking week, except for the weeks that I'm freaking not.
And I'm Eli, the dipshit participation trophy of co-hosts and the sleeper agent of the patriarchy.
Oh, gross. If you say that too many times, it's going to start to not feel like a joke.
That was the only time.
Okay, I'm going to do the listener email after the Pyramid of Life.
Okie dokie.
We have two of them, actually. Okay, what is the bottom of your Pyramid of Life, bruh?
This is a long one, so buckle up. This will touch on politics, so if you just like straight up don't want to hear that, skip ahead probably like 3 minutes or so. So the bottom of my pyramid this week are Democrats. The reason being is that, first of all, for those that haven't somehow haven't picked up on this, I am extremely far to the left. Politically, I'm about as far left as you can get. The thing that my beef with Democrats this week is that, first of all, Republican, for the intents and purposes,
beefing with the Democrats constantly, but this week,
yes, but Republican politicians and lots of people, Republicans are like openly, eagerly, and intentionally evil. Yes. I think we all know that. If you don't know that, like if you're a Republican, if you're a person who is a Republican who is listening, your party is lost. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. The Republican Party is not even what it was in the 70s and 80s. Like Reagan it was the beginning of the end for the Republican Party. Yeah. A truly, if not evil, at least clueless human being who paved the way for a lot of evil to crop up within the Republican Party. Now, the Republican Party is not anything. Like if you think that it's like conservative, it's not. It's the Republicans are actively sprinting towards Christian nationalism and fascism. But again, it's like there's no surprise. So like I'm not disappointed in Republicans because like I know what they are just like they do. I have no expectations of what Republicans are or what they will do because they're openly and like proudly evil. Yes. Mm-hmm. The reason that Democrats are at the bottom of the pyramid is because like they have every opportunity to stop these evil Republicans and hold them accountable and maybe even like make some good things happen. And every fucking day, Democrats sit on their hands, terrified to do anything for fear of like losing a donor or being reprimanded by Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi. They'll like post a little clip on social media about Trump and his buddies of them like maybe interrogating someone in some session or whatever. They'll get like a little 30-second sound bite, be like, yeah, look at me sticking it to Republicans. They're like interviewing Trump's like nominees or whatever, and then they'll turn around and confirm all of his like appointees, no matter how unqualified they are. And then they'll just like wring their hands like, boy, I wish there was just something we could do. Like, motherfucker, there is. Mm-hmm. There is something you could do. You're actively choosing to not do it.
Yeah.
And then Cory Booker got up and broke the record for like the longest time speaking on the floor or whatever. Didn't mention the genocide in Israel one time. Didn't bring up how we need to actually have universal health care. Didn't bring up the like deportations that are going on that are like the exact same thing that Nazi Germany was doing. Like all these things. He just like talked for a while, and that's great. That he did that and took the record away from some racist fucker in South Carolina or whatever. But like, he had every opportunity to like really make a fucking difference and just straight up did not. Nothing came of that. Mm-hmm. No one's talking about that speech he gave. No one gives a shit. It didn't do anything. And so that's like the only thing, that's exactly what I was about to get to. The only thing that Democrats ever do is performative nonsense. And they're just fucking spineless corporate shills. Mm-hmm. And it's so annoying. So my call to action for all of you that are listening who are like, hey, some bad shit's going on. Even if you identify as a conservative, that's totally fine. I'm shocked you're still listening at this point. But like, you're like, hey, I think that so-and-so, I think we're spending too much. I like some of the things that Doge is trying to do, blah, 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 blah. You have conservative viewpoints, whatever. But you're still like, I think we should stop bombing Gaza. I think that we should stop deporting people with literally no due process. That is some Gestapo shit that needs to fucking stop. Call your representatives. Be like, hey, Marsha Blackburn, for example, I voted for you, and this is insane that you're not saying anything and you're actively supporting it. Call your Democratic representatives. My God, please. Like, they need to see what the people actually want. Mm-hmm. Because where the Democratic Party is right now is what I would consider to be centrist. They're like the center of the political spectrum.
Agree.
The Republican Party is fascist. They're as far right as you can go. They're openly national. They're a religious nationalist ideology, and they're openly fascist. The Democrats are where the center of everything should be, and they need to know, like, we need to pull Democrats to the left. I know that is an incredibly steep task to do, a really hard thing to accomplish, but, like, it is because we are all, I think that so many, like, quote-unquote liberals just want peace and quiet and are very scared to like really make some noise, to boycott companies that donate to certain politicians, to actually like call the represent. Like, it's so easy to just call your representative. It feels like you're doing nothing, but I promise you, if they get enough phone calls, they extrapolate that data out. They get like 10 phone calls in a day. They're like, wow, each phone call represents 1,000 of my constituents or whatever their numbers are. But you have to call them. You have to write letters. You have to yell at them. You have to hit their egos. You have to tell them that they're spineless. You have to tell them that you will not donate to their campaigns or vote for them. You have to go to protests. You have to be visible. I'm so fucking tired of these corporate shill Democrats with no spines driving this country into gleefully fascist Republican hands. Like, guys, you pay taxes. Even if you like get a tax refund in April or whatever, do you buy stuff? Great. You're paying a sales tax. Therefore, you have a voice. You have these representatives that fucking work for you. Tell those motherfuckers to do their jobs. I promise you, again, you might think it makes no difference, but call them, write them a letter. And it feels like nothing, but God damn it, we have to try. We just have to. It's the descent is here. We have almost hit the bottom. There is a last ditch attempt that we have to dig ourselves out of this hole, and we have to take it.
And fucking vote too. Like, when it comes time in any sort of like local or state or any sort of federal election, like when it comes time to go to the poll and cast a vote, go fucking do that. Like, Donald Trump got in office again because of people who voted. And when you don't vote, it might as well be a vote for the other person. Like, there is something outside of all of these other like things you can do in between. Fucking go to the polls. Like, fucking get out there and vote.
Sorry.
No, you keep going.
The last thing that I will say is that like local politics matter so much more than you think they do.
Correct.
Republican nationalists Christian. Well, that was a Freudian slip. Christian nationalists are actively like stacking school boards. Yep. They're polluting like the local representation that we have, like being a fucking alderman and shit. Those local races really, really matter. Mm-hmm. School boards are where they're attacking now. Yep. They're attempting to dismantle the Department of Education from the inside out. That is why there's so many loud fucking conservatives at school board meetings crying about children and trying to force religion into schools. It is so that they can dismantle it from the inside out. Go to school board meetings, write letters to local politicians, please. Like, let your voice be heard. We all know that what's going on is fucking crazy. We all know that. Yeah. If you don't think that, go away. Stop listening to the podcast. I don't want anything to do with you. I just don't. But the 99% of people who are listening who are like, yeah, this shit's crazy. Even if it's one thing that you think is going on that's crazy, let your voice be heard. We cannot not hold these folks accountable. We can't do that anymore. We can't afford it.
Yeah. The Reagan shit also really pisses me off because
the what?
The Reagan stuff.
Oh, Reagan.
Like, when Ronald Reagan was a senator, he was a senator of California. Governor. He was the governor of California. He was a Democratic governor. He ran a blue campaign for a blue state. He was a Democratic governor of California. When he decided that he wanted to run for president, he got to be BFFs. And this is not like a conspiracy theory. This is just the truth of the situation. He got to be really good buddies with a man named Jerry Falwell. And Jerry Falwell was the president and like the CEO, head honcho of the Moral Majority. And this like the Gospel Coalition and like this very religious like mega church entertainment superplex that we like don't really see anymore. It's like very much a product of its time, like the 60s and 70s and 80s, and then after the 80s that kind of shit started to die off. But Jerry Falwell told Ronald Reagan, if you switch to a Republican ticket, I can get you the Christian vote and you'll win. And he did. And Jerry Falwell was an open proponent of Ronald Reagan, and the Moral Majority, became a thing, and became the Republican Party. And when Donald Trump, who before his first presidency had very liberal views, he dodged the draft, he believed in abortion, all these things.
Yeah, he was a Hollywood guy.
And when he decided he wanted to run for president, he got to be buddies with Jerry Falwell Jr. And Jerry Falwell Jr. said, I will do for you what my dad did for Reagan. And he did. So it's all bought. Like, that's the thing, too, is like, with peace and love, like, your vote is so fucking important because it's up against the U.S. American dollar. And if you waste your vote and you allow someone who's running for election, a candidate, to be bought by some sort of campaign, you're selling our democracy. Our democracy's up for grabs to the highest bidder. And the highest bidder needs to be the tax-paying voter, not the Moral Majority and the Gospel Coalition,
Project
bullshit like that. Project 2025 and all them
Moms
bullshit.
For Justice or whatever the fuck.
Tesla and X and all that bullshit. Moms for Liberty, head ass.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the bottom of the pyramid right now. Like, Republicans are beneath the fucking crust of the earth.
Yeah.
There's just the worst people. Democrats, though, you have, or at least had, a chance.
Yeah. You still do. I think the Republicans are going to drive that party into the ground.
They already have.
I think they're going to keep doing it. I think it's going to get worse. I think Republicans will make their party worse. But I think Democrats are incredibly fractured, and obviously, as we saw in the last election, cannot rally behind one candidate.
That's the other thing.
I think there are more people trying for not this than Republicans. I think a lot of Republicans are doubling down and want it to be even more scary than it is now.
Correct.
And the Democrats can't organize. The Democrats can't find somebody that they all universally support because they're spineless. But to me, it feels like the world isn't going to be saved at the hands of a Republican.
No.
It's going to be saved as the hands of someone who's not a Republican. Whatever that looks like.
The world would be ended at the hands of a Republican.
If Republicans had their way, it absolutely would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's totally fair.
I'm so fucking tired, dude.
Yeah. That's like totally...
But that's what they're counting on, by the way. That's what Republicans
that's
are
what they
counting
want. It's a war of attrition. They
they're
want to wear you
overwhelming.
down.
They're just overwhelming you. Mm-hmm. And they want you to be tired and just like, God, I can't fight this anymore. But keep doing it.
Yeah.
Also, you mentioned like the highest bidder and the dollar. Mm-hmm. There is power of the dollar. Don't give your money to companies or whomever that are doing things you don't want them to do.
Totally. And I think like it's also really important to just keep having conversations with people in your real life too. Like to me, when the large scale stuff gets overwhelming, even though it is incredibly and possibly important, having a call in with a person that you work with or a family member or a friend or whatever who says something insensitive, that is also good work. You know, if the overwhelming big stuff gets to be too much, you need to take a break for a day. That's like totally fair and totally understandable.
Yeah.
And your neighbor to neighbor, quote unquote, interaction is also incredibly important.
Agreed.
You know, like they're both important in very different ways, but they're both like still important. That's a lot. It's tough, dude. And the people who are like you and the people who work in like public facing, like public for real public facing roles are always going to get it the worst.
Trump has fired over 250,000 people from public sector jobs.
That's so weird.
No, it's not.
I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's unexpected or it's like off color, out of character, but I'm just thinking like, and I know it's not worth like trying to pursue a logical train of thought with him because he's fucking who he is. But like of all of the like initiatives, cutting your parks staff, cutting your air traffic control people, like, huh?
Like, so they can privatize those things.
But they're not even like doing that. They're just cutting people off.
Right.
They haven't introduced any sort of privatization at all. They're just
they don't need
people.
to yet. They don't need to yet. They need it to crumble. And then they'll be like, well, the only
it's
solution.
Crumbling now with all them planes crashing and stuff.
Not yet. It's not enough.
That's crazy. He did, or not he, but there were, I know a lot of the national parks staff reinstated.
Yeah.
I know that's not because of him. I think there was like some litigation that went back and forth between a lot of those employees and that decision.
It's all illegal firing.
Right. And they were all, you know, wrongful termination, all that stuff. But of course, reinstated. But that's not because of Trump. And like, he doesn't give a fuck. You know?
There also not be any repercussions whatsoever for the illegal firings.
Right.
There's no That's the real thing is Democrats just do not hold Republicans accountable.
Sure.
The Supreme Court just issued, like, they voted 9-0. It was a unanimous decision.
Jesus
like,
Christ.
We need to bring that motherfucker back that they deported to El Salvador.
Yeah.
And the Trump administration is just like,
no.
Okay, now what?
Yeah.
Fucking now what? Do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm done. We need to move on, or else I'm going to lose my
kidnapped.
goddamn mind. I'm going to lose my mind.
That's fair. The bottom of my pyramid is not that serious, but it is sad.
Oh boy.
I hate seeing a baddie in an unhealthy situationship.
Ooh.
I have had this conversation with one of my best friends many times that the man she is crushing on is a loser. And not only is he just like straight up broke down, busted down, good for nothing, crusty, musty, dusty loser head ass, who's also ugly. Saying.
There should have been a beat behind that.
Not only that, he's also an infidel. He's an adulterer.
Oh.
Why are you crushing on that man? What does he bring to the table? Nothing. Literally nothing. He walks like he doesn't wash his butt because he thinks it's gay, probably. I'm sure that MF, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Ladies, am I right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. He walks like he never washes his butt.
I love washing my butt.
I love it for you. He looks like he uses 3-in-1. And also, he's like...
Wait.
3-in-1 is the...
Body wash, conditioner, and shampoo.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ugh,
I used
gross.
to. In high school, I used that.
Yeah, well, this man's closer to 40 than he is 30. So... And like...
Shit.
What pisses me off is so many of those things piss me off, but what pisses me off the most is that my BFF is such a baddie and is down bad for a loser man.
Loser.
Like, she's so cool and is so not...
Is this a person I know?
No.
Oh.
It's so not worth this, like, struggle of, like, no, I need him to like me, or no, I need him to whatever, or, like, I can fix him. Like, all of this, which, like, I'm also guilty of I can fix him logic. Like, I get that. And I've been talking about this a lot, like...
But still.
Within our friend group. Like, I'm not judging her, because I get it.
Right.
But also, I know that you're in a shitty spot because I get it. Because I've been there.
Yep.
And I'm here to tell you that your man's that you have a crush on is a fucking loser. And I know, and, like, she keeps, like... giving him the benefit of the doubt. And I'm like, for fucking what? He hurts your feelings. He talks about how much he wants to date you, and then he sleeps with other girls. He cheated on his long-term partner. He looks like that. Like, what is the point? And one of our friends called her out on it and was like, what do you see in him? And she literally couldn't give an answer.
Ugh.
She was like, we have the same goals. And I said, no, you don't. No, you don't. No, that's just a lie. Like, that's just not the truth. You do not have the same goals. You have goals, and he has luck. He's just been skating through life on this, like, dude, white male, I'm sure in some circles would be considered attractive privilege. And, like, but he has no... he
substance.
just pisses me off. And I'm so fucking over women... acting like this around men. For what? For what? What's the benefit? What are you getting out of that? Because they're not even sleeping together. That's the craziest part. Not to, like, air out my friend's tea, but, like...
Well, you haven't said anything about it.
They are not even boning. So it's not even like, oh, you took it to that level and now things are weird and what... No. He barely gives her attention, and he doesn't want her like that, and she is still pining after him when she is so fucking cool and could... move on so fucking fast. Not even move on with a man, but move on without a man. She can move on, period, so fast because he is a fucking loser.
Damn.
He pisses me off. And it pisses me off that she's still stuck in this. And a couple of us, like, confronted her with some, like, tea that we found out about this man. And she appeared upset in the group chat, was like, I can't believe this, like, what an asshole, whatever. But then she was like, well, thanks for letting me know, but, like, just for the future, like, I don't really feel comfortable shit-talking him, and, like, blah, blah, blah. And I texted another friend on the down low outside of the group, and I was like, if this is her leaving the door open, I'm gonna kill her with my bare hands. I will,
your human hands.
I will, with peace and love, watch the light leave her eyes. That is... Why? It's so frustrating. That man... doesn't care if you live or die. He is a loser. Dump him. It pisses me off, dude. It just pisses me off. It really fucking pisses me off. Anyway, that's the bottom of my pyramid. Is a baddie in private, but not a baddie in public. Number one cause of the death of the baddies is being a baddie alone, but not carrying that energy into your real perceived human experience. If you believe in your zhuzh that much in private, take it to the runway. Be a baddie in public. Stop being a baddie in fucking private and then getting around a fuck-ass dude who makes you question your self-worth and whether or not you're cool enough, and then you shut down. That's dog shit. And I'm so sorry. If you're a woman who's listening to this, who's attracted to men, and you are behaving that way, get up. I love you so much. Diva, get off the floor. Allowing a man to make you question whether or not you're cool is embarrassing. Stop it. The end. What's the middle of your pyramid?
T. Middle of my pyramid. The middle of my pyramid.
Freaking pissed.
This is going to be a little meta, but the middle of my pyramid is coming up with things for the pyramid.
I'm surprised you didn't say, like, the meta L of your pyramid, because it was meta.
Amanda, I would never do anything like that.
I'm so sweaty I have to take my vest off.
Hell yeah.
Anyway,
and then in about 45 minutes, there's going to actually be a nude podcast. So, audio listeners,
you wish.
Tune
What's
in.
The middle of your pyramid?
I just said it's coming up with things.
Keep talking about it.
Oh my god, coming up with things for the pyramid. Like, some weeks I have things that I'm so excited to talk about. Or I'm like, oh my god, this would be such, like, a perfect bottom, and I know a thing or two about a perfect bottom. But I have things that are like perfect for the pyramid, and then other weeks I just straight up don't. And I like am panicking, especially when, spoiler alert, I guess a look into the podcast. We're recording this on Easter Sunday. Happy Easter to those who celebrate. But it's like Sunday afternoon, and I'll be like, I don't think I have a middle or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like panicking for the like hour leading up to this.
Fuck, I didn't read my chapters for the test tomorrow. Fuck, now I have to cram it in study hall.
Give me a middle real quick.
Yeah, give me that YouTube recap really quick.
Yeah, so the middle of my pyramid is coming up with things for the pyramid.
That's very meta. The middle of my pyramid is the Hunger Games, the books. Okay. Ladies, I have started, ladies, gender neutral, I have started reading the Hunger Games because I did not read them when they were like
I still
a
haven't.
thing.
When you're done with them, can I read them?
Yes.
Great.
And I bought this very pretty like box set of them, and they have sprayed edges. It's like very slay.
We love a pretty box.
It's the yassification of the Hunger Games. And I did not live for the first one. I'm so sorry. I also don't have, like I said, I don't have the nostalgic connection that a lot of people do.
Well, a lot of people just enjoyed the first book, though.
Well, but then I started reading...
Not because of nostalgia. They enjoyed it when they read it for the first time.
But then I started reading the second one, and I think the difference is that the first one is impossibly YA. Oh, I have to burp.
What's YA? Oh, young adult. Like it's
young adult.
Very like teen.
Yes, it's like written for a 7th grader.
Well, yeah, that's
like,
when people read
right,
it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. And so like
I
me, almost 30, did not live for the 7th grade experience.
I understand.
But I started reading the second one, and the second one already within the first like 30 pages is way better than the first, in my opinion, currently. Huh. So I think I'm going to be cool. I think it's going to be great, and I have heard that it only goes up from there from the first one in terms of like, you know, like a reading level, you know what I mean? Like they just get more and more like
good.
Yeah, and just less young adult focused.
Sure.
Like a friend of mine was like, I would not let my child, my 7th grader, read the third book. Like I would stop them after the second probably because it's just like high school or college age plot and things. So anyway, that's the middle. I did not live for the first one. I'm so sorry. I didn't really get the hype. But now that I'm reading the second one, I'm like, oh, okay. I think it's like kind of come together. Anyway.
Nice.
What's the top of your pyramid, bro?
The top of my pyramid is probably going to shock you, actually. It's a good, hard cry.
What do you know about that?
That is the shock. Thank you for...
what do you know about crying?
Falling right into that trap.
I've literally never seen you cry. I've known you for 7 years.
You probably won't. So this is so dumb. The weirdest things get me. I do not cry very often at all. But I saw a video. I'm scrolling Instagram one day, and I saw a video of a guy auditioning on American Idol. And he comes on with his guitar, and he's singing a song in honor of his recently deceased father. And he starts singing. First of all, his voice is like beautiful and soulful. It has like a little bit of a rasp to it. It's a gorgeous voice. And as he's singing, like the judges start like he sings this one line, which I'll get to. It's going to be my song of the week. Spoiler alert! But
great.
He gets to this one line, and I think it's who is it? Isn't Lionel Richie is one of the judges? He he literally the guy sings the line. Lionel Richie goes, "Oh," and starts he starts crying. And so like it got me too. And so then Lionel Richie like vocalized exactly what I was feeling in that moment.
Mr. Dancing on the Ceiling.
And so I like it happened. I listened for another like 30 seconds or so. I closed out of Instagram. I set my phone down and just sat on my couch and cried for a couple of minutes.
That's awesome. Good for you.
It just really hit me. There are a couple lines in the song. You know, my dad's birthday is actually 2 days from now.
Happy birthday, Eli.
He's turning 72.
Nice.
He's getting up there.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I just I have such love and respect for my father. He is truly a hero of mine. And so his not to turn this into something insanely dark, but his mortality is not forever away. Totally. He's 72. He's about to turn 72.
Totally.
And so something about it, man. And the song, it's by James Blunt. It's called Monsters, and it is so stinking good. And in it, there's a line about I'm not your son, you're not my father. We're just two grown men saying goodbye.
Whoa. And it's like, hey, really quick, James, What gives you the right?
Yeah,
bitch?
you need to fucking chill out, James. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it hit me particularly hard because like in more recent years, I'm gonna in a month I'm gonna turn 35.
Right.
Going on 70. But I now see my dad as like a human being.
A human being, yeah.
That didn't happen until like, I don't know, a handful of years ago or whatever. I've always seen him as like, he's my dad. He's like this other
he's
thing.
the adult.
But now like I see him as like we are just two grown men. And so that line, oh God, it really got me.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so I cried in silence for like like fucking catching my breath.
Yeah.
Sobbing for like
Heaving.
a couple of minutes. Yeah. And then like afterwards I won't say it was like a relief, but it is not, you always make jokes about me that I don't like feel feelings ever or whatever. And this was just a really nice moment that I like very much got to feel them.
Yeah.
And I don't even know, it wasn't something I like planned on or was like anticipating at all. But it was nice. It was like a nice little reminder, I guess, that like it was nice to feel very deeply for a moment.
Totally.
So,
bitch, I be feeling deeply constantly.
Well, but
and it's great.
Well, yeah, but I think that is a large difference between the two of us.
True.
Is you get to feel those a lot.
That's true.
And I don't.
That is true. I make it a point in this phase of my life to make sure that I'm feeling feelings because I used to not be that way. And I have found that my life has gotten a lot better and fuller having felt feelings than me in my experience trying to push them away or push them down or deny them because feelings demand to be felt, period. So like if I don't feel them, they're just going to hang out and wait until probably the most inconvenient time ever and then come out when I like lash out at someone or whatever. So yeah,
for sure.
I love crying. I be crying all the time.
I don't love crying, but it was just like
I don't love the logistics of crying.
It's that
like because my head
all
hurts.
snotty and
I get snotty
your
and then my
face is
eyes
hot.
are puffy the next day. And like if I was wearing makeup, then it's all over the fucking place. And like
That's
the
why I don't wear
logistics of
makeup.
crying are like not my fave, but the catharsis of crying, that shit's lit as fuck.
I don't think even that. Again, it was really just like that I felt enough to do it.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Top of the pyramid.
Love that. Bitch! My top of the pyramid, if you are currently watching, or if you were watching RuPaul's Drag Race Season 17 and you don't know who won, skip. I'm going to give you a second. Great. My MFing girl, who I have loved from day one, on the season that ended on Friday for Drag Race, fucking won.
Hell yeah.
She is so good. And it, like... controversial yet brave opinion. Jewel Sparkles did not stand a chance. She was it came down to my bitch Anya Nerve. Anya Nerve. Onya. Her last name was Nerve. That's amazing.
That's great.
And then they had at one point a makeover challenge where they brought in their family members and they had to turn their family members into a drag queen that would be like in that drag family. And they brought in Anya's dad.
Uh-huh.
And they turned Anya's dad into a drag queen and gave her the name None Ya Business. So it was Anya Nerve and None Ya Business.
That's real good.
And Anya Nerve just ate those fucking girls up like week after week. She's funny. She sews. She can lip sync the house. She walks the runway slow as fuck, which is awesome because she's like locked the fuck in with RuPaul. Like, look at me. Are we kidding? Are you getting this? Like, this is incredible. She did it the whole season. And there's a great clip of her that somebody posted. I watched a bunch of edits of Anya Nerve's like best moments and stuff because I fucking love her and I wanted her to win so bad. And I was afraid that Jules was going to win because she's pretty. Which is, you being pretty and thin does not a drag queen make, bitch. You have to be talented. You have to be more than just pretty. And there's a clip from one of the times that Anya is in the top. And she goes, I'm in the top this week. And these bitches are mad in her interview. And then it like cuts a bunch of stuff of like her winning. And it was like so fucking good. And then Jules, a girl that lost, there's an episode where like, this is like at the very, very beginning of the season. Eli's not listening to me, so I'll just talk to you.
I am listening.
This is like the very beginning of the season. There was a sewing challenge. And Anya did something kind of shitty. This was like just a little shady. She stole some material from Jules Sparkle's table, but Jules wasn't using it. She was like, I was going to. And I was like, well, how the fuck was I supposed to know that? Also, we're supposed to be sharing materials. And she says, I'm not going to wait for you to tell me that I can have something that I need when we're supposed to be sharing. She was like, I saw it and I needed it and I took it. Period. Kind of shitty, but
I don't know about period.
But Jules said, well, she was like, it's okay. You can keep running your mouth because you're not going to have that many weeks left anyway. Anya won. And she won against Jules. Like, she was fucking everything. And the best part of the whole thing was that the final lip sync for the crown, those two bitches, the lip sync was Abracadabra by Lady Gaga. Hey, that's an awesome song. And Jules had all these gimmicks. And she came out in a gown that was obviously a reveal, which is my biggest pet peeve. If you're going to have a reveal, the first look needs to be a look standalone. It cannot be, oh, this is obviously like a swimsuit cover-up. No, it needs to be a look. I need to be shocked. Something needs to be revealed. If I can tell that something's underneath it, what the fuck are we doing? Just take that part off and just wear the whatever. Anyway, so she came out and she had all this stuff on, and it was like, there were gloves, there was a hat, there was an umbrella, there was like 4 skirts, there's a whole thing. Anya came out in a just regular outfit, and I said to my best friend that I was watching it with, I was like, Anya doesn't have a reveal and Jules has like 7. And this is either going to be the best thing ever or the worst thing ever for Anya. Because Anya obviously has no reveals. What you see is what you get. Jules has like, I'm not kidding, I think she had like 5 during the course of the song. And they played the full song because it's the last number and whatever. And Jules was like taking off gloves and she was like taking off skirts, taking the hat off. She like had a thing across her top that she pulled off. She had like leggings that she took. And Anya had none of it. And Anya was just doing her thing. And there was one moment during the Bridge of Abracadabra, if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about, where she looked at RuPaul and I looked at my best friend and I said, Anya's going to win this. I was like, I'll bet you $20 right now she's going to win. Just because of the way that she like pulls the judges in and is so obsessed with how good she looks all the time and is so confident and is so skilled. And I was like, Jules, who's busy just doing all these gimmicky things, she's not locked in with RuPaul. And RuPaul loves just an old-fashioned doing your big one, having a good lip sync more than she likes a gimmick.
That's good.
And I knew. I was sitting here with Gray and I was like about to start crying. I was like, for the love of fuck, please let it be Anya. And she was like, the winner is, and she said, Anya Nerve. And Gray and I started screaming. And then the video of Anya, because, you know, they don't know. They film a version of the finale where each girl wins. And then they just play the right one the night of. So the girls have all had to film like they won. And they don't know who really won until the night of. Just they're finding out everybody else. And there's a great footage of Anya, and now it's like Anya Nerve, and she just goes, yes! And she's like, that's fucking right! Like she freaks out, and she's like, let's go! And all the girls are like, yay! And she's like, I knew it! Like it's the best. Anyway, Anya Nerve, I live for you, bitch. You're one of the funniest MFs that's been on that show in a long time. Talent the house, like Nerve boots. It's Anya Nerve, bitch. I love you. That season would have been so fucking boring without you, and you deserve to win. And I know a lot of people disagree. They think Jules should have won. No. Ooh. I'm so sorry. It's Anya, babe.
We like a controversy.
Okay, let me pull up this...
The emails?
Email. Oh my god, we have 3. Okay,
what are we, Hillary Clinton?
Oh, but her emails.
Oh, and then Hegseth. Okay. Texted war plans in an open group chat.
Okay. Yeah, girl. Okay, so this is an email with the subject line, not a Dance Moms email. Love. Hey, Amanda and Guy. I'm Mel.
You ever meet people? I'm sorry to cut you off, Mel, but have you ever met a person named Guy?
Yeah.
What an insane name.
Just Guy.
That's crazy.
Like a woman named Lady.
The least Lady creative. I've met dogs named Lady. But it's like the least creative name you could possibly come up with.
Yeah.
Guy.
Just Guy.
Sorry, if you're listening and your name is Guy, it's not your fault.
No.
I don't mean to talk shit, but like...
We're talking shit on the people who named you.
Yeah, that's great.
Not you specifically, Guy. I'm Mel, the girl from Brazil, and I've written before, but it's been a while. First off, I want to say that I watched Drag Race Season 6.
Yes.
Because I wanted to be in on my besties conversation, and then I went back to listen to your opinions again, and I am floored that Eli didn't like milk at the beginning. Hang on. Let me get through it. Heartbroken. Her drag is honestly one of the most special to me, and Courtney Act is just face and body. I'm sorry. Hang on. when I think drag, I think over the top, exaggerated features, etc., and she doesn't give it to me. Anyway, I'll watch the next season you comment on, and I'll be waiting patiently. Eli, your response? The floor would like to recognize Mr. Farmer.
No, yeah, I maybe I didn't say it like in the episode or episodes that we were talking about it like while it was going on, but after the fact, I have said repeatedly, I think, that I liked Milk each episode more.
She aged in reverse.
I liked her. Yeah, she aged the opposite of Milk, actually.
Right.
she got better with age.
Time, yeah.
And so, like, her first reveal with the gap, it was just so crazy.
It's shocking.
It was really jarring.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
Like you said, Courtney, like, so much of her deal was that she's just pretty, and that's fine, but that got her really far, but that was never going to have her win.
Sure.
I think that she deserved to be top 3 or 4 probably, but she was not a winner in my mind.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, again, Milk got better with time. Courtney was always just, like, good.
Uh-huh.
She was never great.
Sure.
Which is why she didn't win. Milk, I thought... Milk, in hindsight, I think she probably should have gone another, like, week or two, just, like, in my mind's eye of how that season just, like, went. She probably should have gotten a little bit farther. But she wasn't going to win. I think she's fun and funny and goofy as hell. Very unique.
Who? Sorry?
Milk.
Oh, yeah.
So just talking about not listening.
I'm looking at the listener emails.
Talking about not listening.
I'm not texting the hose. I'm reading the emails from the hose.
I was typing in my bottom for next week because I already thought of it.
Oh, my God. Sitting and talking to Amanda, bottom of the pyramid. Doing this bullshit every week.
But no, so, Mel, I definitely understand and agree with a lot of your opinion. But I thought Courtney was still, like, good. She's not only pretty, she also had some skill and was good at some things, but was obviously not, like, a true great or anything like that.
Justice for Ben de la Creme. Also.
I agree. Completely agree.
Secondly, you don't understand my hype when one of the listener emails put Legendary as their song of the week. My brain went off with an alarm and the bells were sounding. So my dear Epic the Musical friend, my song of the week will also be from the musical in your honor, and it's Scylla, I think that's how you say it, Scylla, from the Thunder Saga.
Probably Scylla.
Scylla, yeah. Going back to the roots when we chose songs to be danced to, I think the song would be a fire dance because of the change in intensity. It would start off as a beautiful lyrical number and then end in a rageful contemporary number. The vision is so clear in my head.
That's dope. I think that was also King Tony.
Definitely. Yeah, okay. The Epic Saga is King Tony coded. That's like his thing.
For sure.
Okay, on to the Pyramid of Life. Bottom is passive-aggressive people. You as fuck. You hate them bitches.
I do.
Like, why do you have to make every situation uncomfortable for those around you by making a snippy comment to someone else? It irks me so much, and I can't elaborate anymore, or this will become a 30-minute rant. Middle is trying to find a group activity that I like doing. Like, I work from home, so I'm done in school. My physical activity of choice is going to the gym, so I'm basically alone all the time. I love being alone, and I do still hang out with my friends very often, but there's not much opportunity to meet new people. So I decided that I have to make a commitment to do something with other people, like a group activity where I can engage with new people outside of my comfort zone. I tried going to a dance class for adults, but it wasn't for me.
I have suggestions for when you're done.
I also just associated myself to a club, the kinds with pools and sports courts. So I'm trying something there, but it's just so much work trying to live an extrovert life. The floor would like to recognize Mr. Farmer.
I appreciate that. If you're into the gym, do like a workout class. Mm-hmm. Those are always fun.
My gym does half off at a bar, like right down the street every Wednesday, if you remember.
Oh, nice.
So like there might be like a community. Go to the something if you're a something.
Yeah, there might be a thing like that if it's like a big enough gym. There are also, where's this person from? Brazil? Is that what they said?
From Brazil. I don't know if she currently lives in Brazil.
Okay, well, I don't know if Brazil has these, but I know in the States it's very common to have like adult softball or kickball leagues or things like that. Like really like approachable, like casual activities and sports and stuff. And so like I like when there's group stuff, when there's like a thing to be doing, so there's not just the pressure of, oh my gosh, we have to be like socially interacting the whole time. We can just like play a game of kickball, but also like while we're sitting on the bench for a couple of minutes in between at bats or whatever, this is when we get to like bond and talk and, oh my gosh, we won, what a great kick that was, blah blah blah. So like look for things like that where there's like something to be doing.
That'd
be my suggestion.
Top of the pyramid is friends. Recently, I've been getting closer to one of my girlfriends from school. We both entered and finished school at the same time. And the other day, one of my guy friends stopped by my house and gave me a chocolate Easter egg that he made himself. That's very sweet. Literally. Yeah. The other guy from our little group is basically the Eli to my Amanda, and we bicker back and forth all the time, and it makes me happy. On the contrary, Eli and I bicker back and forth, and it does not make me happy, but I'm glad that you're able to find happiness with your man.
We also don't bicker back and forth. It's pretty one-directional, I gotta say.
All right. I don't know if there's any validity to that statement, but
I think, sure. Amanda, we've probably got like 100 hours or so of footage of that happening.
I have like 250 licks on you at any given moment. You know what I mean? Like, it is not good.
Licks?
You know what I mean. Fuck off. Fuck out of here with that. I can't imagine my life without them, and I feel so lucky to get to have them in my life. Again, a sentiment I do not share with my relationship with
Damn
Eli.
it.
That's it. No Dance Moms Talk today. Just an email about the first 40 minutes of the last episode. Kay, love you. Bye.
Hell yeah.
And then this email is from someone whose name I don't know if I can say, so I'm not going to. But they say, hi, guys. Unfortunate because they didn't roast you, but whatever. I don't have a lot of personal stuff or the pyramid, but I do have some stuff about like behind the scenes. So, firstly, the dance that Chloe did called Friday Nights has a couple of different notes. Number one, Abby outright told the choreographer that it was supposed to be a dance for Paige. I think we've talked about this before, but I can't remember. Thus, she also said, make sure it has Paige choreography, and in her brain, Paige choreography equals bad choreography.
Yes.
And then number two, Chloe wasn't in that music video that Mackenzie shot. She wasn't in the music video scene, even though all of the other girls were. And her little sister Clara wasn't in the music video because Abby said they couldn't have anyone cuter than Mackenzie.
Right. We've gotten that tea before, but
So
thank you still for writing in.
Yeah. So when Christy gave that interview saying like how like Abby doesn't want anyone cuter, it was actually in reference to her younger sister Clara, and they spliced it, and Edward Scissorhands like chopped it up to make it sound like she was talking about Chloe versus Maddie.
Chloe's also really a cute kid.
Yeah, true. Next, Mrs. Miller was all of the girls' first dance teacher and was known to be an incredibly sweet woman. A couple of the Dance Moms girls have outright said that they were scared to go to dance sometimes, like in their early childhood, like 3 to 6, because of Abby, but they absolutely loved Abby's mom.
That's how the fuck does Abby turn out like this?
I don't know. Bad apple, but not from a bad tree.
Also, I will also say, though, there is a possibility that Mrs. Miller was really great to the kids, but not to Abby.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we don't know. That's true. Also, whenever you hear Abby say, I started my business at 14, she actually was just able to put together a little dance team under her mom's studio name and money. Yeah, duh.
We know. Nepotism. We got
Abby
it.
has also repeatedly said, when I remember that woman, referring to Melissa, standing by my dying mother, it makes me want to throw up. So do with that what you will. So Abby apparently... Melissa being involved in the passing of Mrs. Miller was not with Abby's consent or knowledge or approval.
What?
She was just being a freak.
Wow, that really is a one-directional
literally
love relationship.
Literally. It's disgusting.
Melissa's just like her fucking pet.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
That Abby doesn't like.
When Abby says things about not having enough... Oh, wait, this we kind of already talked about also about... Like, when Abby's like, I don't have enough costumes, it's because she has to order them ahead of time, and they don't come in time. Yes.
So she's a poor planner. Got it.
Right. And she doesn't care who she emotionally ruins with her poor planning. Awesome.
Right.
If y'all haven't listened to the Back to the Bar episode on Kelly's fight, 1,000,000% recommend, because they go into so much detail about everything, like how the producers withheld footage of the fight, how Kira had to testify against Kelly, and how a security guard that wasn't allowed in the room during the fight testified as well. Crazy stuff. I'm not sure if y'all are aware, but most of the episodes haven't been uploading to Spotify. Okay, I got this as a comment also. I think what happened was when we got to episode 17 or something, 15, something like that, the next episode is episode like 23. And it is that way because all of the in-between episodes were reunions or montages or whatever. And
I think there were 5 in a row.
Yeah, so they're not uploading because they don't exist. They just aren't.
Yeah, I think it was 21 or something is like where we picked back up.
And we stopped at 17. And so someone else emailed and said that, and I think that's what that is. Because I pulled up on my Spotify and I'm seeing all the episodes we recorded.
I will also say, though, whenever I've opened up YouTube over the past several days, there are several episodes that all just uploaded.
So that was happening. Yes, that's also been happening. That's because of me, because I was struggling with uploading, and I have figured out what the problem was. And so now I'm trying to not just like throw a bunch of shit at the wall and just upload them all in one day. But the YouTube thing is fixed now. But with the Spotify, we just didn't record those episodes because in between episodes like 17 to 22, it was just like Abby's, top 10 most bullshittiest awful moments, or like so-and-so reunion part 1 and this person are fighting part 4. It's just a bunch of bullshit and we didn't cover them. So it's not that they're not there, it's that we didn't do them. Keep being so fucking amazing. Y'all are the light and joy in my life and in so many people's weeks. Love you so much. Bye.
Oh, that's very sweet.
And then we got one more email, but I'm going to save it until next week so we can get started on this content of this episode.
Yeah, we've been yapping for a while.
You ready to talk about the content of this episode?
You bet your bottom dollar I am.
Slay. Okay, this week we're talking about season 4, episode 24, called Abby-Phobic.
Well, you know what I noticed, actually?
Weird fucking name, but okay. But also fair, because same.
Yeah, seriously, we are all Abby-phobic.
I am very
But
Abby-phobic.
During the intro, sequence or whatever, the Highlands are still in it.
Yeah.
How long is that going to last?
Don't know.
Have they been here this season? In season 4? I don't think they have.
Or they got out season 4, episode 2.
Yeah, why are they still... Whatever.
Didn't have the budget for a new intro, I guess.
I get, even though that thing looks like it cost $12 to make.
Yeah, and Lifetime was rolling in it for real at this point with this show, so don't know how true that is.
You know what's really funny, actually, is as I was watching this episode this afternoon, my roommate Edward's friend Cole came over as I was watching the last 20 minutes or so, and he was just I told him about the podcast and everything.
Oh, okay.
And then he watched 5 minutes. He's like, this show is awful.
Yes.
He's like, how are these children not in therapy? I was like, I think most of them are.
Yeah, most if not all of them
and he's
are.
like, have they not gone back and said how awful this was? I was like, yeah, most of them
openly.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, okay, good, because this is crazy.
Anytime that Maddie is interviewed and the topic of dance moms comes up, she just says my dance teacher. She fully won't even say Abby's name, which period, you fucking shouldn't. She's a cretin. Okay.
Anyway.
Previously on. We got 3 solos last week. We were looking for a replacement for Maddie because, if Maddie's, getting professional gigs, we need somebody to replace her. And then Sarah and her mom got the boot because Christy couldn't keep her fucking trap shut.
Yeah.
So they're out.
Sarah was a fine little member, I guess. But Christy's the goddamn worst. I'm glad she's gone.
Yeah, same. She was getting on my nerves.
I hope she steps on a Lego.
Okay, this week we're starting in the mirror room. Abby's yelling at them girls, let's go, as she is wont to do.
Yep.
The new girls come in and we see that there's a new girl not the new girls come in. The pre-established girls come in and there's a new girl with them and her name is Jade and we're going to come back to her.
We've seen her before.
Yes, she was on the other team.
The select team.
The select ensemble elite junior whatever the fuck team. The other team. Abby in her talking head gives a rundown and she says that if Maddie's going to be called to go on a gig, she needs to be able to just yoink any other person out of the lineup and be fucking do your thing, get first place right now. She needs all of the other girls to be at Maddie's level at any given moment, which is insane. And so she pulled Jade from that other fuck-ass team to be on this fuck-ass team.
Gotta tell you, Jade's pretty damn good.
Oh yeah, we're going to talk a lot about her. I have thoughts about all the shit that goes on with her. Also, she says, I don't think this is true. I don't think the other team is still intact. But the way that she phrases it sounds like it is.
Well, I think she...
So is it or is it not?
Well, it sounds to me like they might rehearse together sometimes. I don't think they're competing together. But they're basically the farm team. They're the minor league team.
Sure.
And so she's just got hey, if I need someone to get called up, it's going to be one of y'all, so you better stay ready.
It was just interesting the way that she phrased it. Was so are they still a team? I don't know.
I will say, Abby and her talking head, you mentioned that Christy and Sarah are gone. She called Christy a lunatic, correct?
True.
And then says Lori, the Jade's mom, is better. She owns 2 successful dance studios, and Jade is a national title holder, which is awesome.
True.
Good for her.
Mm-hmm. Lori is Jade's mom. We see a lot of her this episode. And Abby asked the other moms if they've been nice to Lori, and they're all like, we have. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lori. Yeah, they're like, we have, yes.
Okay. And then Abby in her talking head says that she wants a mom who's classy to join. She's like, I don't want these other bitches who are always yelling at each other. I want a classy mom. And that's Lori.
Sure.
The phrase classy really stresses me out. But whatever. Hooray for winning last week. We slayed. We get to the Pyramid of Children. The
Beat
pyramid,
like 8 other girls.
Yeah, the pyramid is non-existent only because it's 2 bottom, 2 middle, and 1 on the top. So, like, not a pyramid, but whatever. The worst child is Chloe. She got 2nd place for her solo.
And that's just the first loser.
The first loser. Yikes. Also, I hate that line goes really hard. You know what I mean? Like, that's something that, like a dude bro on, like...
It's like
look maxing gym talk would be like 2nd place is the first loser and would like definitely motivate someone to like go to the gym. Definitely not the right thing to say in front of like children on television. But I'm like, fuck, that's kind of annoying. That does go kind of hard. Anyway, Nia is the next worst child. She made it to the top 5, but as 4th.
Yeah.
So,
and Abby was like, I was really hoping to have the top 3.
So that is bullshit because 2nd is the first place to lose, but 4th should have been 3rd. So she's like, all of you should have gotten 1st. What?
The
math.
I will also say that it is sometimes appropriate to have different standards for different folks. Chloe is awesome.
True.
And so I was like, I expect 1st from you.
Oh.
And Nia, she's like, Nia, I don't necessarily expect you to win, but I do expect top 3.
Fair.
And I think everyone's on board with what that means.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. Yeah, now that you're saying it, that actually makes a lot of sense. The middle...
The rare occasion.
Yeah, true. The rare occasion. Middle of the pyramid, the next worst child is Mackenzie. She says, I'm not going to let up on you until you're everything I know you can be. Hey, terrifying.
However, I'm going to push back on that because I think that that's like kind of excellent.
But...
as a teacher,
Abby Lee Miller thinks you can be, pass.
Well, I think
any other teacher, sure. That one, no.
Maybe, but I, we have the totality of the circumstances to look at with Abby, and she is a ghoul, of course.
Yeah.
But if we take if we're thinking just like I'm a neutral educator, what are some like good little nuggets I can draw from this? That is excellent because she's like, listen, I'm going to be really hard on you. I'm going to hold you to a really high standard because I know like I'm the pro. I know what the fuck I'm doing. Yeah. I know what greatness looks like, and I know where you can end up, and so I'm not going to let up until you get to that point. That is excellent.
Sure.
That is excellent. She's like, listen,
Abby,
you might be satisfied with where you are right now. I'm not, because that's not your best. And I know it's not your best.
That's what I'm saying. I think from another teacher it would have been fine. I think from Abby it's pretty fucking scary.
Right. I'm just saying just as
standalone advice in a vacuum.
This is how I pun slightly intended, but this is how I like compartmentalize this show. If I look at it in its totality,
how is it a pun?
I want to No, I'm like compartmentalizing the advice into like just this that she's saying right here, but also I need to compartmentalize this show into like a dark shadowy corner of my brain. So maybe not a pun, but like it's a double. It has 2 meanings.
Sure.
And so, I just think it's good if it was from anyone who wasn't a fucking tyrant.
Yeah, great advice from Abby.
So,
and then Abby in her talking heads calls her a budding pop star. Girl, again, is the reality in the room with us? It is certainly not. The next worst child is Maddie. She was great in the group, and she was on Ellen, and she's been doing a million interviews. And in my notes, I have in this moment, why isn't she on the top? And then I have in my notes, top is Kendall. Oh, that's right. I like totally forgot. And Kendall like ate that shit up. She got 1st place in her solo, but Abby talks so much about Maddie. I completely forgot that Kendall even like existed last week.
Kendall's she's a filler kid.
I know. She's a filler queen.
Yeah, and so she's had a good couple of weeks in a row though.
Yeah.
Like she's done very well for herself, and then Jill, of course, is fucking thrilled.
The worst.
She's happy for her kid. I can't.
She's a Trump supporter.
Yeah. Again, looking at it in a vacuum, in this moment, in the context of this television show, in this scene right here, she's really proud of Kendall, and Kendall's thrilled. That's all great.
Whatever. Abby just reminds Kendall, like, just because you won once doesn't mean that everything is going to be easy. You need to, put extra pressure on yourself.
A bunch of whatever.
A bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
This week we're going to Imagine Dance Challenge in Woodbridge, Virginia, and it's a new competition from the same dude who did Star Power, that we've been to like a million times. But that also means, based on the location, that a group called Studio Blue is going to be there, and they're the number one op. We have fought them many times, and we lose every time.
Studio Blue, spelled like blue cheese, BLEU.
I know. I had to just spell it BLUE in my notes. I was like,
I
can't fucking do this.
I didn't realize it until like the actual competition when they showed the caption at the bottom.
Yeah. Oh, I had the closed captions on the whole time. This is a closed captions house. And
normally it is, but for this show, I just don't.
Yeah. Abby tells the girls that she has a brilliant idea for a new solo, but then she's like, I just don't think it's ready. We should do it later. And so she's like, just kidding. The other teams are super tough, so we're just going to do something else.
What an insane... That's some Kathy shit. It's... Listen, regardless of how good we are, we're not beating this other team, so we're just going to do something shittier. Yeah. What an awful... Like, there are several layers of awful to that for why you shouldn't say that to a team of performers that you're trying to, like, motivate.
Right. And she also says the number's really good, but also controversial, which doesn't make me feel better. It actually makes me feel worse.
I wrote that down, that in her talking head, she says it's controversial, and I said that's fucking terrifying. If Abby is fully acknowledging that it's controversial...
Hey, I'm scared.
What the hell has all this other shit been?
Yeah. It's like when she says, I'm going to start getting tough. I'm like, what have you been this whole fucking time?
Yeah.
This is you being tough, dummy.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. Like, where the hell was Mr. Nice Guy?
When the fuck were you nice? You've been kind of a dick this whole time.
When the fuck do we get ice cream?
Abby tells the girls that they're all in the group, but she doesn't know what it is. Awesome. And then Christy in her talking head calls BS. She's like, this is some dog shit, and I know it is, and we're being set up to fail, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's just weird to go into a competition, like, kind of unprepared.
To be like, we have to beat this other team with a number that I have not created yet.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
Abby tells Jade that she's getting a solo. The solo is called Far East, and I am scared.
For folks who may have forgotten, Jade is of Asian descent.
I looked it up. It is worth noting, according to the Dance Moms Wiki, Jade is Vietnamese. She was adopted. She's Vietnamese. Her mom is white. She is not. And Chloe...
Why are we... God.
Yeah, it's...
Well, now Nia's not the only person of color, so of course Abby's going to give her some bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, because POC can never know peace. You know what I mean? Like, that just, like, can't happen for them.
Right. Not in Abby's world, anyway.
No. Chloe has a solo called They Don't Want My Kind around here. That's crazy. And Abby says it's dark. Shocking.
I also said I'm shocked that she didn't give that to Nia.
I know, I did too. I was like, is she going to do something insensitive? Like, where you talk about poverty? Is this going to be a thing where she's like, just kidding, it's Nia, and then she makes it racist? Like, what's going on? But no, it was just like Chloe, ookie spooky.
And also,
I just kept waiting for the other, like,
Chloe, we don't want you around here.
Cancelable shablam to happen. I was really scared. The moms go upstairs for 3 days out for the competition. Gianna and Abby are like talking about what they want to do for the group that's currently warming up.
They're in the room.
The girls are just like kind of stretching and just like dancing around and like dicking around with their friends because they just like don't know what's going on. Like nobody has literally any idea. And the moms upstairs are noticing that something's up and they're like kind of pissed, like kind of bummed that nothing's materializing.
There have been a couple of times, I guess I can say the name. It's been at Lebanon High School where like the band director will kind of show up and not have a plan for what to do for like a marching band rehearsal of 110 kids.
I don't get that shit.
What are we doing here? You have no clue what we're about to do. And
I don't get that. I had a full 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I had 5 classes a day and a 2.5 hour rehearsal 3 days out of the week when I was a teacher for 4 years. I was never unprepared. That's dog shit. To be like, I'm busy? No. Nope. Also, can't be too busy to do your job. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Also, it's so easy to come up with like a marching band plan, just like for the first 30 minutes, fundamental block. For the next 30 minutes, we're doing sets 1 through 5. We're going to focus on getting feet in time. Then for the last hour, we're chunking the show with music. Like, it's so easy.
It's so easy.
It's so easy to come up with. I'm not saying teaching is easy. Trust me, I did it for over a decade. It is not easy. But coming up with a plan for rehearsal, at least like on a foundational level, you can fucking do that in 2 minutes.
Come on.
Bow, chicka, bow, bow. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, after a short break.
Sorry, I had to have a wardrobe change. I was feeling really overstimulated, and my shirt was just like not the right length in the back, and I was like, that was really stressing me out. And then every time I moved, I got more dog hair on me, and that was stressing me out. And also I'm sitting not in my assigned seat, and that's stressing me out. And so I was like, I have to fix some of these things. So I went upstairs, I put on my old man clothes, and now I'm feeling fresh and funky.
I was gonna say funky fresh.
Now I'm feeling a lot better. My old man sweatpants, this raggedy ass shirt that I've had for like a shit zillion years. I'm feeling better. Feeling pretty good. Okay, any fucking way. What are we fucking talking about? Oh,
the group rehearsal.
Abby has the girls line up in front of her, and she's like, let's talk about some shit that y'all are scared of, which is insane. And she's like, this could be like the theme of the dance, because she doesn't know what she's doing. This could be the theme. And she asks every girl what they're afraid of. Maddie says that she's afraid of being in a dark place by herself. Chloe says she's afraid of public speaking. Mackenzie's afraid of bugs.
Awesome.
Kendall says she's afraid of large crowds. Nia is afraid of needles.
More like
same.
More like needles.
And then Jade says she's afraid of heights. And Chrissy says her biggest phobia is that the girls have is actually Abby.
Yeah.
And then Jill says that Abby is afraid of Studio Blue. Do you have like a throwaway thing like that you're afraid of?
Failure.
No. Like a physical thing.
No.
Okay. I have a thing about needles and body stuff. That actually, my mom, infamously, I've talked about this a million times on the pod, just had surgery on her foot, and she showed me the bruising from her stitching today, and I almost passed out.
Damn.
I really, thinking about body stuff, I feel the blood rush from my face, my feet get tingly, it really, really stresses me out.
Helplessness is my, number one fear. Failure, not so much. I'm pretty okay with failing, actually.
I mean...
I had just read
being you probably have to get okay with failing.
But I just read what I wrote about, literally what you just said about Jill.
Yeah.
Saying about Abby. No, helplessness is my number one fear.
Helplessness, interesting.
Yeah.
But not like a physical, like spiders or snakes or whatever.
No, really. Snakes are cool. I don't like spiders, but I'm not ah.
Yeah, not a big fan. Yeah. My mom has a paralyzing, crippling fear of snakes. And there was a time when...
So does my mom, actually.
My parents were leaving their house, and my mom was, walking through the threshold of the back door, and my dad was, in front of her, and he turned around to say something to her, and there was a snake around the threshold of the door. And he looked at it, and he went, Sarah, go back inside. And she knew, exactly what it was. And my dad grabbed a shovel. You've met my father.
I have.
He's a cinnamon roll of a human being.
Yes.
Grabs a shovel, scrapes it down, and hacks the snake into pieces in front of my mother. Chop Tina the snake. It was awesome.
He didn't have to do that.
Yeah, he did.
He could have just
No, not for my mom. My mom would have been it's in my house. There needed to be carcass evidence. A corpse, snake corpse.
It's a living thing, though.
Nope, but it fucked with the wrong family, I guess. I don't fucking know.
It wasn't even fucking, it was just sitting there.
But there's a chunk out of the gutter in the back of my parents' house, and my mom doesn't want my dad to fix it because she thinks it's hot. Which, I mean, fucking right, slay. I think that's awesome.
Literally slay.
I think that's awesome.
So after the girls list out their fears, Abby says you have 16 counts to act out. Do interpretive dance almost. You have to act out your fear. Hot take, again, in a vacuum, this is a great fucking idea.
Sure.
This is a great idea.
An improv exercise.
It is not only Abby trying to get stuff for the dance, trying to get choreography.
Yeah, farming ideas.
Yeah, she's literally hey kids, help me write this
idea
dance
mining.
that I did not plan out myself.
But
also this is an exercise in creativity. It is very stressful to just improv and in front of your classmates and your teacher and everything. They don't have time to write something themselves. But this is a really good way to challenge them, I think.
Yeah.
So I liked this.
Yeah, I didn't hate it. Christy makes a comment that every time Abby brings in a new girl, it's to go up directly against Chloe. And Lori says, well, you could turn that as a positive thing, that Chloe's the one to beat. You could make it positive.
And also, Christy's griping. She's well, Chloe's 12 and Jade is 15. And Lori says, well, maybe it's because they're pretty close scoring wise.
Yeah.
They're the closest competitors and they're going to drive each other.
Yeah. And Christy doesn't take it that way.
Yeah, then, she's just well, if you had been here for the past however many years or however many weeks, then you would know that that's not the case. And then what does she say?
Lori whips out the phrase "as a mom," and Christy takes that really personally.
Yeah, she's like,
"Oh, so I'm a bad mom."
Well, Lori says like, "Well, as a mom, I think I might like take
Christy.
this." She's like, "This is an opportunity to like frame it in a positive light for my daughter." And Christy's like, "Oh, I'm just a bad mom." And in this very moment, I am so annoyed. Like, this is a hot take, but Christy's really starting to annoy me.
Really?
Like this season, I don't fucking like her.
Yeah, that's fair.
She's doing very little of the like good mom shit that we saw her do the first couple of seasons, and now it's just she just complains all
and she doesn't
the
have
time.
she doesn't have her bestie, and I feel like sometimes she and Kelly could just like bullshit together and it was self-contained.
Yeah.
But now that she doesn't have like a sounding board or someone, then it's just like she's just saying it to whoever will listen.
That too, but I also think that like Kelly in the Highlands used to get a lot of the brunt of Abby's wrath.
Also
and
true.
so Christy could then afford to be like the strong one and lift her
like,
up.
oh, your life's not that hard. It's
But
fine.
now she's getting a little more of the brunt
Yeah.
as she perceives.
Yeah.
And is just straight up not handling it well at all.
Yeah.
I'm very annoyed by her.
Totally fair. Abby calls out Mackenzie, like, it's okay, Mackenzie, like, it's your turn. And she gets really scared and just kind of, like, runs, like, scurries away. And Maddie is like, come on. And Abby's, like, counting in the background and, like, counting her off. And Maddie is like, come on, Mackenzie, come on. And she's like, I'm trying. Like, I'm doing what I can. And Abby kind of starts giggling at Mackenzie getting flustered, which... And then that makes it worse for Mackenzie. And Mackenzie's like, why are you laughing at me? And Abby says, because I think you're ridiculous. And I get where Mackenzie's coming from as like a little sister who had a hard time doing those kinds of things. I remember when adults used to laugh at me and I didn't understand they were laughing at me because I was being funny. I thought they were just laughing at me to make fun of me. And my sister talks about this all the time, that like once I was able to finesse people into laughing with me, my life got a lot easier.
Well, you learned to laugh with them also.
Right. But when you're little and an adult's laughing at you, it's like really debilitating.
Well, and like I said before, like having to do improv is just inherently a very vulnerable thing.
I hated doing improv.
It's because you don't even know what's coming
As
next.
a theater major, as a person with a degree in acting, I hated doing improv. I need a plan.
And so now imagine being 9
and
having to dance, which already is it's a very like vulnerable art form.
And there's cameras and Abby fucking sucks and your sister's there and your mom's crazy. Yeah, it's too much. You just want to go home and eat chips and love Justin Bieber.
Same.
Same. Abby tells her to go sit upstairs with her mom. She's like, Mackenzie, fuck off. And Mackenzie goes upstairs and she's like pretty pissed at Abby. I have a note in here that I love seeing this child have more of a voice. Like, she's like, this is frustrating. I don't like the way this adult is treating. Like, this sucks.
I agree.
And Abby says, like, how do you have the #1 video on iTunes and not know how to pretend that there's a spider?
So weird.
Abby, shut up. Melissa tells Mackenzie to stop crying, and Mackenzie says, Mom, I'm a kid. I'm allowed to do this.
Damn right.
Period. I know that's fucking right.
Yeah, she goes upstairs and says, Abby laughed at me. Melissa immediately says, well, it's because you were being cute or whatever. Like, she's defending
I'm not trying
Abby.
to be cute.
Melissa,
I'm struggling.
Stop licking Abby's boots. It's insane.
Crazy.
Just
It's embarrassing.
Siding with the adult over your child.
Yeah.
Not even giving credence to Mackenzie's feelings or whatever. She just immediately
no questions asked, just sides with Abby.
Mackenzie's just like, I don't know what to do.
Poor baby.
And then she says, I'm a kid. Melissa and her talking head immediately after saying that, after Mackenzie says that, Melissa just goes, Abby is right. If she's going to beat Max Z and be a pop star, she needs thicker skin.
Yikes.
And again, she's literally, I fucking hate Melissa. She is one of the worst parents on the planet.
She's a slime ball.
Again, I think I said this last week or 2 weeks ago. Melissa, you can catch these verbal hands.
Yeah,
I'll tell you to your face, you're a bad mom.
Yeah. Mackenzie's talking to Abby about how she needs to grow up. Or Abby's really talking at Mackenzie. And Abby says, do you know how many people laugh at me and make fun of me? Oh. Hey, really quick, you're projecting your own insecurities onto your students. And that's bullshit.
Oh.
You don't need to work out your insecurities on your students.
I will. I'm finding myself doing this a lot this episode. But like, again, in another context, doing something like that could be a great way to like connect with your student. Like, hey, listen,
I used to get made fun of.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I got made fun of for the exact same thing, and you know what I did? Like this, and I think I see that same kind of strength in you, and I really think if you do this, then you'll get through it just like I did.
But that's not what's happening,
and that's also not what Abby is doing.
That's also firmly not what's happening. I remember I had one of my friends that I taught with used to say, teaching is the best profession for anyone with a God complex. And I think about that all the time. That's so true. If you have a God complex, get into education.
Well,
because but in the sense that like Abby has the luxury and the privilege of being able to work out her insecurities on a child and just claim it's education. When like, no, it's not. You're being an asshole. There's no educational backing for, taking out an insecurity and working through it with a child. I don't really understand what the educational benefit of that is. I think that's kind of fucked up. She benches her from the routine, from the group number, because she just can't hang. And then we cut to a commercial, and we come back, and we're 2 days out from the competition, and I have in all caps, cultural appropriation again. Awesome. Great.
Yeah, dude. This was really something.
Jade is having her solo rehearsal, and Abby says it's mysterious and flirtatious. What an insane thing to say. In this context.
Hey, Abby, quick.
She's really 15. Quick? That's fucking crazy. That's crazy. And you wouldn't say mysterious and flirtatious about a dance that centers a white voice, but you will say that about this ambiguous, quote-unquote, Asian person. Like, mysterious girl, enough.
It's very, what's the word? It's trigger warning, but it's the term like Oriental.
Yes. She would say that, yeah. It's like, ugh, it's disgusting. Lori in her talking head says that Jade looks the part. Fucking yikes. Her own mom is like, yeah, fucking appropriate my child. Her white ass mom named Lori is like, hell yeah, do that. Fucking crazy. And then Lori says that she's worried that because the number is like acro, she's just like really nervous because she hasn't done that kind of number since she was like 8. So she's just like a little nervous about that genre.
She also said, first of all, that, Jade hasn't done it in literally half a lifetime ago for her. But also that judges are like very love-hate with acro. Yeah. Some of them, it doesn't matter how good you are. They're just like, I don't like acro. I don't like the style. I'm not going to score it high.
Yeah. Lori's in the mirror room watching Jade's rehearsal, like next to Abby, not like up in the Lido deck. And Christy calls out, like, oh, well, they've been here all day. So that's why she's going to do better. It's because she's been knowing it forever. We got here and Lori was already in the mirror room with Abby rehearsing, blah, blah, blah.
Again, making excuses.
And
Christy,
Holly...
stop complaining.
Yeah.
Stop
complaining, challenge.
If you have a leg to stand on, if you're calling out injustice, that is one thing. But Christy just fucking gripes all the time now. Crazy.
Yeah. And Holly, bless her, is saying like, well, we should probably be nice to Lori because she owns studios and is like a colleague of Abby, sort of. So like, she says it doesn't hurt us to be nice to her.
Well, first of all, just being nice to another person is usually a good policy to have.
True.
Secondly, she notes that because she owns successful dance studios, Abby values her opinion. And Holly is saying, she's like, even if you want to like utilize Lori or whatever, if she's on our side, sort of, if she'll listen to us, she could be an advocate for like the moms.
In the way Abby, that Melissa is, but for everyone's benefit, not Melissa
slimy,
by herself.
Not slimy and shitty.
We see Chloe's solo rehearsal, and Abby in her talking head is like talking about how if Christy doesn't like the solo, she can fuck off, basically.
Yeah, well, she says, like, I'm sure the title of the song, like, Christy's going to take this as a message. It's not. I honestly just like the song and think Chloe would be good.
Fair.
Yes.
Do I believe her? No. But if I did...
I think I do.
I don't think I do.
I think I do.
I don't.
You know that I absolutely hate Abby Lee Miller, right. But I will call it like I see it. It was the same thing as, like, Drag Race. I change my opinions when presented with new information. I try and be as like, as like fair as I can be. So like even with all like the history and everything, I don't see like.
I don't know.
Christy just looks for shit to complain about.
That I do agree with, independent of anything.
That's what I'm saying. I think she's just looking for something to gripe about. And Abby is fully like, listen, she's not going to like this, but I'm giving her daughter a solo for like the 4th fucking week in a row.
Yeah, true.
First of all.
True.
Secondly, like it's her, like it's a contemporary, like lyrical whatever style that
Chloe excels really at. Right.
And what are you griping about? She's like, I like this song. I think it'd be good for Chloe. Great.
I do wonder what the threshold is then of like at what tipping point or at what point was the tipping point for Christy's complaints, because we have said so many times on this podcast that like
it was the Cameron thing, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Setting her up like she and refusing to let Cameron go against Maddie.
Yeah.
And instead going against Chloe. I think that's what like largely sealed. She had complaints before that, but I think that's what like locked in. She's like, whatever happens, I'm just going to complain now.
Gotcha. I was just thinking about like the difference between, because we've talked about this a lot, like, yes, Chloe's technically getting the same thing as Maddie, but what she's getting is equal, not equitable.
Right.
And so sometimes her complaints are incredibly valid and like based opinions, but this doesn't feel like it is at this point. Like now, just to your point, I think she's just finding something to bitch about probably.
At some point, like you run out of excuses. Like this is the world you're living in where Maddie has just gotten preferential treatment her entire life.
Right.
This is the world you're living in. It's no longer Chloe versus Maddie. Stop having that argument.
Right.
Just look at what's happening with your daughter. Look at your daughter in a vacuum. She's getting a solo. Great.
Sure.
That used to be the complaint. Like in earlier seasons, it was like, my daughter never gets a solo, blah, 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 even though Nia never fucking got one.
Yeah, Nia would like a word, but okay.
Yeah, Chloe got them like pretty frequently. And they were still like, you used to complain about having solos, and now you're like, oh, it's not a good enough solo. It's,
right.
Like, dude, what are you doing here?
Yeah. Jay comes in with her costume to have Abby see it in the middle of Chloe's rehearsal, and Abby's paying more attention to Jade in her costume than to Chloe, who's running her number.
That's something you can complain about.
Yeah, Christy has a problem with it. She says, whenever Chloe wins, it's in spite of Abby, not because of her. Fair.
Okay, yep.
We see the group rehearsal, and Abby in her talking head admits that what she's doing is kind of fucked up. She's like, this was probably not the best week to just like be freestyling with the group number, but here we are.
Yep.
And I think she's getting like kind of nervous. And Jill asks Melissa if Mackenzie's in the group, and Melissa says it depends on how the group from Studio Blue will enter. If they enter as a teen group, Abby will enter Mackenzie to bring down the average age so that ALDC will compete as a junior group.
Right.
But if Studio Blue enters as a junior group, she will pull Mackenzie out to bump up the average age to a teen group.
Yep.
And somebody, I think it's Jill, says like Studio Blue knows that we enter as a teen group and not, or as a junior group, not as a teen group. So Jill predicts that Abby will keep Mackenzie, or Melissa predicts that Abby will keep Mackenzie out to bump them up to the teenagers because Studio Blue knows that they're going to do junior, so they're going to enter as junior. We will discuss whether or not that turns out to be true.
Well, really, the thought here is that Studio Blue is as obsessed with ALDC as ALDC is with Studio Blue.
Or with Candy Apples.
Right.
Right.
That's the thought.
Yeah.
Well, but Candy Apples is.
Right. Studio Blue doesn't give a fuck.
But they're assuming like, oh, I bet
they're
Studio Blue is plotting their group around where we're going to be. So we're going to plot. And turns out, by the way, Studio Blue doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. About anybody but their own studio, which is totally fair.
Yeah.
Abby goes upstairs to like talk to the moms about this grouping, and she says that they're going to be entered as a teen group, and she blames it on Mackenzie. And then she leaves, and Lori says to the other moms, competing as teens doesn't make any fucking sense because you're going to have a group that's comprised of like 12 and 13-year-olds up against like 17, 18-year-olds. So like, what the hell is going on? And Jill whips and looks at her, and she goes, why didn't you say that when Abby was up here? She says, you sat there in silence and you said nothing. And Lori's like, it's not my place.
It's
like,
not.
I'm not the fucking teacher. I'm not the person who's entering them in dances. Like, it's not my place to tell her how to live, which I don't necessarily disagree with. I think some of these moms could benefit from shutting the hell up every once in a while.
Yes, this show would go so much smoother if they just shut up sometimes.
I feel that way about this podcast. It would be a lot smoother if one of us would just shut up. It's me. We go to a commercial and then we come back and the girls are in the den and they're like, I love these scenes with the girls just like by themselves because they're like almost reciting lines. Like they're so force-fed by the abso-fucking-lutely I do. I think like at least to start off, like, hey, Maddie, ask Chloe how she likes her solo. And she goes, okay, hey, Chloe, so how do you like your solo? Like, it's just so not... maybe in the middle to the end of these conversations, they're a little bit more organic, but the beginning is not. I don't think these girls are really talking about it in this way. I think it's a little bit staged, in my opinion.
I think they'll feed them like the opening line.
Sure.
And then they'll just go because like it feels very much like 9 to 12-year-olds talking about dance to me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like the first line might be fed to them, but outside of that, it feels rather organic. But what do I know?
Maddie asks Chloe how much they have done, like how much of her solo is choreographed, and she says it's less than half.
Oof.
And Chloe says that she's 12 and Jade is 15, And she's like, I don't know if I think it's fair to always be going up against the person who's new.
Yeah, that felt genuine.
Yeah. The girls, we then cut to the girls like sitting in the mirror room, like they're sitting with their backs against the mirrors, like watching the soloist.
Oh, sorry to cut you off. I will say, after Chloe says that, Maddie says, you never know, you could beat her.
True. I mean, Maddie the optimist.
Well, Maddie just is very, like, blunt. I think we've seen.
Yeah, she's very honest. She's an older sister.
She'll just say shit.
Yeah.
And so I think, like, when she says that, she's just like, this is very matter of fact.
It could go well. Who knows?
It's very Maddie of fact.
There you go. Stupid. Jay does her solo, and Lori says that she's nervous again. The same the same concern about it being acro. She wishes she was doing a contemporary number.
Yeah.
And Christy upstairs says that Chloe has like picked up on this new pattern of people, or this pattern of new people, always competing against her. She like knows what's going on.
And the new kid gets a lot of attention. Chloe gets what's called a throwaway dance.
Yeah.
According to Christy.
The group number, finally we get the name. It is called There Is Nothing to Fear But Fear Itself. And the moms upstairs are, you guessed it, afraid. And Christy is like shitting on the strategy. I did kind of live for her in this moment. I'm really sorry. Just like...
You don't have to apologize.
I don't know. I just like...
Again,
every once in a while...
see things in a vacuum.
Every once in a while, Christy's complaints hit. And I just love how she airs out her complaints without really giving a fuck if people agree with her. She's like, this is my opinion and what about it?
Sure.
She's not looking for a team. She's not looking for somebody to rally behind her. She's like, this is how I feel. Then I think this is bullshit.
Sure.
Abby tells the girls that there's a whole big bad world out there and they're all coming to get you.
Well, she's talking about like going against like the teen division or whatever.
Yes, but
she's
it's
like,
still
this is
weird
competition, and you need to know that there's a whole
the whole world is coming to get you. Like, okay. We're at the competition, and there's the mom that like I think used to dance with the candy apples, maybe.
Mom didn't.
Or her daughter did. Or she danced with the ALDC, I can't remember, but the one who like owns Studio Blue used to be like a canonical mom in the show. I think with the ALDC. Because there's one week where she like rips all of them and she's like, fuck you bitches, I'm getting a whole new team in here. And one of the girls from the whole new team is the girl whose mom owns Studio Blue.
I think she's also the one that got first place in the solo. Spoiler alert, but
yeah, it's her.
I recognize that child.
Yeah, her mom owns Studio Blue.
Yeah, she was around for a little bit.
Yeah. Excuse me. We're in the green room and we find out that the group from Studio Blue that's going to be competing against the ALDC is in the teen division.
Yeah, so had they just kept Mackenzie and kept the team like normal, they would have been in the junior.
All this was pointless. And Abby's
posturing fucked them over.
Yes, and Abby in her talking head says that they're not ready for what they're about to do. And she kind of like shrivels up in the green room. It's like really interesting.
Yeah.
The moms are kind of like pressing her and she like can't.
She's like,
she doesn't have a rebuttal.
I was trying to do some banking on my phone. And
she just like stonewalls them. She like ignores them, silent treatment, and then she just eventually gets up and walks out.
Yeah.
It's very
She
cowardly.
knows they've got her pinned, and that's rare.
Yeah, she knows she fucked up. And Lori says that they like need to be given like the right chance. She's like, this is dog shit what we're about to do. There's no fucking way we're gonna win. These children are like almost legal adults,
right?
And ours have not hit puberty. Some of them haven't. There's no fucking way that a kid who can vote isn't gonna beat a kid whose age doesn't end in the word teen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's only one teenager on the ALDC. I think it's Jade.
Yeah.
Because Chloe's 12, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
Yeah. Holly says that Lori's the one who needs to convince Abby to put Mackenzie back in so they can bump it as a junior dance. And then we get to a commercial.
At this point, my roommate's buddy Cole was watching, and he's like, this is bullshit. They're all so much older.
Yes,
he's
correct.
Like, how the fuck? Yeah, how a bunch of 17-year-olds going to dance a bunch of like 11 and 12-year-olds?
Welcome, Cole.
He's like, this is so dumb. Like,
yes,
yep.
Correct. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Abby comes back into the green room and Lori's like, hey, teacher to teacher, what do you think about putting Mackenzie back in the stance so that it can be bumped down to like the littles? And Abby tells Lori's like, I'm exhausted. And she says she's finally in a position to put her foot down.
What does that mean?
What the fuck have you been doing these other weeks? Is it not putting your foot down?
Yeah.
Like, what? Whatever. Christy's pissed. And I'm also pissed.
Christy is pissy.
She says she's pissed that the girls are going to like pay the price for Abby's fuck up.
And Abby says, if the kid acts up, I'm going to stick to my guns. These kids need to step up. Bunch of nothing.
Abby,
Bunch
shut
of
up.
nothing.
Abby, shut the fuck up. Chloe is in the green room running her solo. Abby fully checked out, not paying attention even a little bit.
Nope.
We do see a little like glimpse of the sweet mom stuff where she like talks to Chloe and tells her not to worry about the other girls. Do your best. It's very sweet.
This is the shit that like
we want more
made us fall in love with Christy.
Yeah.
There needs to be more of this and less just
dog
open
shit.
Mouth complaining to nobody about anything.
About nothing.
It's just so dumb.
We get to the performances and Christy says that the talent in this competition is just like so much more intense than the other competitions that they've been to.
Uh-huh.
Jade goes first for her solo. She eats. It's great. And then we cut to a commercial and we come back and Chloe goes next. She also does well, but it looks like all of her other dances. It's like very rinse repeat for her.
Christy in her talking head, it says Jade is a beautiful dancer and is very technically good, but Chloe makes you feel like,
something. Yeah.
Well, I think Chloe makes you feel something, Christy. She's
that's probably true.
Your daughter.
Bias opinion, but sure.
Yes.
I'll let it slide. We're back in the green room and Abby says that Jade played it safe and that Chloe can emote better or like
Chloe needs to relax.
Bullshit, yeah.
Chloe needs to relax.
Into your turns and
Jade needs to let loose. It wasn't your very best.
She's just hedging her bets. She's like, so that way when you guys don't win, I can say, look, I was right.
You're right.
The girls are getting ready for the group and Abby's giving them what she thinks is a pep talk as she normally does. Jill in her talking head says that she's nervous and she says that if they want to win, they're going to have to prove to Abby that they're the best. Blah, blah, blah. As they're marking their dance, Chloe like kind of swings her arm and I mean like just kind of bonks Maddie like in the nose or like in the jaw or something like what? Bonked. That's like the best way to describe.
The word bonked.
She doesn't smack her or hit her. She just kind of like bonks.
It's like, oh, whoops.
Like, oh, sorry. Like not a big deal. Abby like makes a face.
Well, she kind of rolls her eyes a little bit.
Yeah, Christy's like, why are you making that face?
But Abby didn't even say anything to the kids. She just kind of rolled her
Christy,
eyes like,
you're losing me, babe. Like,
she was just like, oh, that's annoying. Yeah, and then Christy's just like, what are you rolling your eyes for, Abby?
Yeah. And Abby's like, everybody else has spatial awareness except her. And then Christy's like, well, it was an accident. And Abby tells Chloe to say that she's sorry. And then Christy says, my child's always sorry. And then they go to leave and Christy calls Abby a witch.
And then Abby says, yes, I'm on my broom. Let's go, girls. Like she is like water off the
kind of iconic,
back.
Not going to lie.
Yeah. And so, like, yet again, Christy just tried. They had to have told her something.
That one I was like, all right.
After Kelly left, and then after Kira left, they're like, we need someone to do some crazy shit.
Christy, you're up.
Yep. Yeah. You're next in line. They had to have said something because, or the show has just worn on her so much that she's just over it.
She's over it, yeah. I think that's what it is.
I think it's a combination of the two.
Yeah, maybe. We see Studio Blue. Shut up. And the mom who, runs that studio, who I think has been around before. We see Studio Blue's group number. They are, again, so much fucking older than the ALDC. Yeah. You have kids that are old enough to, in theory, be enlisted into military service. And then you have girls who haven't hit puberty.
Right.
It's just not the same. It's crazy.
Yeah, I will say it's interesting that Studio Blue had their little pep talk in the hallway. I think it's they were clearly told to do this because they're oh, something about the ALDC. We tend to beat them. Go out and do your best. It was
be
so
good.
Nothing.
Keep doing our thing where we beat them.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And all the girls are like, yeah.
Woo. They're like, who?
They're locked. Yeah.
They're like, I'm about to sit in that audience after we're done and fill out my college application. I'm worried about not being beat up by a 7th grader.
Yeah,
I'm not worried. I'm really not worried. I'm going to college
Mom.
in a couple of months. I think I'm good. The ALDC then goes later. They do really well for what it is. However, it is up against a much larger, much older group. And Holly in her talking head, it says that she had her doubts, but that the team did really well. She doesn't say she thinks they're going to win, but she's like, the number actually turned out pretty well. Yeah, and they did well. They're just not going to win.
Right.
We get to the awards, speaking of, and Chloe in her solo gets 6th, which is really tough. And Christy in her talking head is like, that's not a surprise at all. Okay,
I will say Abby did, clearly there are a lot more kids at this competition.
True.
And they said beforehand, Studio Blue is only one of a lot of great studios that are
sure.
in this area. So 6th is not as good as Chloe normally does, but
right.
It's not shocking.
Sure. Jade gets third, and Lori is like really bummed, and she like voices her previous opinion of acro probably wasn't the move.
Yeah.
Because some judges just don't like it.
So I will note in this moment, Studio Blue solos got first and second. Mm-hmm. And so that means that Chloe got 6, but 3 of the 5 people ahead of her were either Studio Blue or Jade.
Yeah.
So like among the Gen Pop, she was third.
Yeah, exactly. And then Abby says that she hopes that they win where it counts, which is in the group. What do you mean where it counts? Your dumbass is always yelling about the solo placement. You said that Chloe was the first to lose last week because she got second in the solo. What do you mean where it counts?
Yeah.
It counts everywhere. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's the moving goalpost.
So fucking stupid.
You'll love to see it.
And the ALDC, you guessed it, gets second, and Studio Blue fucking gets first.
Yeah.
Duh.
And then Lori in her talking head wonders if the LDC would have won in the junior division. I think they probably would have.
They absolutely would have, Lori. With peace and love, they absolutely would have. Like, no question.
She's trying not to be, like, angry and channel her inner Christy,
right.
But she's like, I think that we probably should have been in the junior division.
She's just throwing this out there.
Yeah,
I wonder how they would have done in the junior group.
Abby, like, manipulated herself out of a gold.
Yeah, she tried. And Christy kind of mentioned this at the beginning, but, like, Abby was so worried about the mind games of Studio Blue that they were not playing.
Yes.
That she couldn't just, like, do fair and square. If she had just, like, entered the typical category with Mackenzie, done a group number, it all would have been fine. Studio Blue was never coming for their necks like that.
Yeah, no, they weren't.
They literally weren't.
You could even argue that Studio Blue was like, we know probably that ALDC has some younger girls. They're going to be in the junior division.
Yeah,
we're just going to
do a team thing.
And we're going to win anyway, so we can win and they can win.
Who cares?
Yeah.
Our win doesn't affect their win.
No.
Who gives a shit?
Right.
We go back to the green room, and Abby's talking to the girls about how they're all going to get older, and as they get older, they have to get better and whatever. And Lori is talking to Abby about how acro just, like, wasn't a good idea. And then Lori is like, I don't know, like, when Jay dances with my solo, or with my studio, she just scores a lot higher. And Abby's like, are you doubting me? And she's like, yeah, kinda.
Yeah, she's like, I'm just a little
awesome.
bit wondering if I made the right decision coming to the ALDC. Ooh.
And then Abby says, I just need Yeah, Lori says that she doubts if even being on the team was the right move.
Yeah.
And Abby goes to leave, and she says, I need to start thinking about nationals, and then shuts the door, and that's it. There's no follow-up. There's no
very weirdly
mom
edited.
talking head being like, I wonder what that means. Like, hey, ladies, I need to start thinking about nationals. Credits.
Again,
awesome.
Cole was watching this, and he goes, wait, is that how the show ends?
Yes, this show is a fucking mess. This show doesn't make any goddamn sense.
It's so funny watching someone else do what I did the first little while.
Yeah.
It was like, wait, is that it? Or like,
what just
happened?
That's all you got.
Yeah.
That's literally it. So yeah, that's the episode. I didn't really love this episode, I'm not going to lie.
Well, it's Abby was self-sabotage. I thought it was a perfectly fine, like, entertaining episode.
Sure.
But Christy was annoying, and Abby totally shot the team in the foot.
She's a bumbling idiot in this episode. She's not even like... She's like Dr. Doofenshmirtz level of villain. Like, she thinks that she's, like, really like Godzilla, and she's not. She's Dr. Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb. Like, come on. What's your song of the week, brother?
It's Monsters by James Blunt.
Oh, that's right. My song of the week is a song called Party for You, like number 4 and then the letter U by Charlie XCX.
I typed in party and it came up.
It's a
shocking that Adore
awesome
Delana
song.
Didn't come up.
I love that song, Party. I love that song. That song's had a resurgence recently because of the internet and because of Charlie XCX in general. But that song, Charlie XCX is really passionate about, like, I hate to say the word sculpting because it's so trite, but that's how she feels.
Trite's a good word.
Thank you. Of like sculpting sounds where you feel like different feelings of partying in the club. And Party Free was a great example because there's like 3 very specific tones in that song that are meant to represent 3 different feelings at a party. So like the first is like the party, whatever, but the idea in the refrain is like, I threw a party hoping that this person would show up. Like, I only threw this party for you. And I was hoping you would come through. Like, that's the sentiment.
I'll listen to it.
It's so good. And then in the middle, there's like an a cappella moment where she's using I don't know if it's a vocoder or if it's just layered vocals, but there's like an a cappella moment that's meant to feel like, well, depending on who you ask, meant to kind of feel like the come down at a party where, like, especially like if you threw this giant party for this person to show up, and they show up with their girlfriend.
Oof.
Or they show up, like, or you think they're with you, and then you see them making out with someone else at the party. And then at the end, it's like the sad feeling of like the party being over and being like, why the fuck did I do all that? I did that for this one person who doesn't give a shit if I live or die. And all I did was I only threw this party for you. Such a good song. I love that song. Damn. But then also, like, it makes me want to shake ass a little bit. She's really good at writing sad club music, which is like one of my sweet spots.
Yes.
I love it. It's so good.
That up before.
I love sad club music. We Can't Be Friends by Ariana Grande. Another song of the week from a million weeks ago. Another song that makes you want to cry in the club. Yeah, it's great. It's Past Life is the same way. I love sad club music. Dancing on My Own, my song from last week by Robin.
Yep.
Sad club music.
Sure.
I'm in the corner watching you kiss her, like being sad. I'm giving it my all, but I know I'm not the guy you're taking home because that song's gay. Anyway, because Robin's gay. I guess that's it. Follow us on socials. What the fuck was that sentence? Follow us on socials.
You're like Tasha Salad. Follow us on socials.
Follow us on socials. I'm at notamandab_. He's at Eli_farmer_. Collectively, we are at The Pyramid Pod. Our email is it's thepyramidpodcast at gmail.com. Send us an email.
Y'all
your
been killing
opinions.
it with emails recently.
It's true. I love a listener email, especially when they're funny. But even if they're not, that's okay. Not everybody can be funny all the time. So write in an email even if it's not funny.
Literally just give us your pyramid or a song or, hey, a funny thing happened.
Or Drag Race or your book opinions. Somebody one time commented, I vote that after they're done watching Dance Moms, this becomes a book podcast. So I love talking about books. You're going to be prepared to be the most sick of me you've ever been in your whole fucking life. Because I'm challenging myself this summer to only read romance novels.
Oh, Jesus.
And I'm calling it the Summer of Love. And if I get burnt out, I'm going to read books about serial killers like the actual Summer of Love. So I'm pretty excited. Anyway, sorry there was no Iggy. She's at her grandma's house. Her grandma. Rachel went out of town this weekend, and so she's at Rachel's mom's house, and that's also why Rachel's not here. Somebody, also a comment from a couple weeks ago, the comment was, we support Rachel's rights and wrongs. True. In all caps with the little hand clapping emoji between every single word. I also support all of Rachel's rights, most of Rachel's wrongs. Every once in a while she has a wrong that I don't fully support, but I support her as a person.
Right.
And that's what matters.
Right. Is that all you got?
Yeah.
Right.
Good night, Alyssa.
Good night, Alyssa.
Thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We need to do a montage of every time I yell goodbye like that.
Yeah, it would like shatter the glass in this house.